Welcome to another Tea Time show with me, Mark Tillison. So usually it's me just kind of showing you how to do stuff, but today I'm thrilled to have three guests. So we're guaranteed to mess something up technologically. So it's the most guests we've ever had on the show, but should be really cool. So we are talking about how to create a community on social media. So we have I'm a huge fan of Sam Kelly, Twitter influencer. We have an Instagram influencer, and we also have a would-be community member, I guess, who's also kind of smashing it on Twitter as well. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself. So Samantha, why don't you big up yourself?
Okay, my name is Samantha, otherwise known as the Tweeting Goddess. I'm a Twitter expert, LinkedIn and community builder already. I'm also the founder of Women's Inspire Network and the author of the little book of Twitter Magic.
Fantastic. Welcome. And Sarah?
Thank you.
I'm Sarah Tasker. I am an Instagram expert. I've written a book called #Authentic, which is a best-selling guide to Instagram. I have an iTunes #1 podcast of the same name where we dig into all things social media, but with a soul. And everything I do online is under the name Me and Orla, because it started out as just an account of me and my days with my daughter Orla when she was born. But now it's my whole business.
Awesome. Welcome. And another Sarah Dunwood.
Hi, so I'm Sarah Dunwood. I'm a former teacher of 24 years, and I got out of the profession last year, and I'm now pursuing my passion of photography, starting from the ground up, which is really scary, but I've done some work with Sam, and I'm finding my way in Twitter. I've got my own little community around me now, so it's great.
She has.
Great stuff. Great stuff. We've got a broad agenda. We'll probably go meandering off topic, but we'll try and keep it kind of reined in on topic. So this came out of a kind of Twitter chat, actually, as it happens, and a community that I kind of participating at the weekend every Saturday, just a local one near me, all business people. And we were talking about kind of doing sort of YouTube shows and challenges of doing a video a week. And I said, look, I'm really struggling and I wanted to do one a day and I was failing miserably. If you've got anything you want to know, then, ask me if I can answer it in 5 minutes. And of course, I got a question, which isn't a 5-minute question, which is kind of how do I create a community on social media? And maybe if we go kind of around the three of you, probably just the basics of obviously which channel you would consider and where do you start? So let's start with you, Sam. Where do you start?
Okay, where do you start? You start with where your audience are. You start with, finding out where your audience are and what it is they're looking for and what their problem is and what you can solve for them. I first started on Twitter just starting to make friends. I didn't realize I was building relationships. I was trying to find like-minded people, other people in business who were going through the same things I was going through. And that's how I started on Twitter. So just start at the start, find out where your audience are. Mine just happened to be on Twitter because I'm 49 and the age demographic on Twitter would be kind of 35 to 55. Actually, the over 55s is the highest growing demographic. And, just find your tribe. So if they're on Instagram, like Sarah's audience would be mostly Instagram, I'd say, you will know straight away if that's the place that you need to be. So find out where your audience are and then just start talking to people. It's that simple. Start building relationships, taking part in Twitter chats like yours and, stuff like that. And you will start building your own kind of army of marketeers around you,
Sure. Okay. And Sarah Tasker?
So I think there's a distinction that maybe we should make between creating community and really just holding community. I would say that, like Sam's just said, the communities already exist. The people are already there. But what maybe is missing is a place where they can all kind of gather together and feel like they're being seen and heard and getting that value out of the time that they're spending on the platform. And so many of us can spend time on social media in that way, feeling kind of a bit lost and aimless. When you find somebody who has that community, it's not just about the person and the content they're sharing, it's about all the other people who are there with you. And so seeking a place to hold that community rather than create it gives you, I think, a slightly different focus in how you approach it.
Okay, so what I'm understanding from that then is you're talking about kind of joining in maybe existing communities and forming relationships there rather than creating a community and trying to get people to kind of come and join in. Is that what you're meaning?
Potentially, it can be a whole new kind of niche within an existing community. But I think rather than thinking that you have to start from scratch and bring all the people on board, and that it doesn't already exist, it's more about like, how can I enter into an existing space, Twitter, Instagram, whatever platform you choose? How can I come in here and create a place where conversations can happen that people are missing in their lives? Like, how can I be of service to everybody instead of how can everyone be of service to me?
Yeah. No, good point. Excellent point. And Sarah Dunwood, so you're kind of fairly early in this journey. So you maybe have a different perspective from the three of us who sound like we've all been doing this for quite a while.
So, I've got a couple of different perspectives, I suppose, because I've used social media for years, but as a teacher, I've had to behave in a very particular way that was quite locked down, and that protected me to make sure that I wasn't representing my school or whatever in an inappropriate light. So when I stepped out into business, I found it quite difficult initially to relinquish that sort of control over my space online. But what I have done was, initially I just kind of reached out in terms of how I was feeling, not how I wanted to reach people as a photographer and as a budding business person. And essentially I did exactly what Sarah's talked about, that I found a community that welcomed me in with open arms. And it was the crafting community, and built this group of people around me who would check in, and even now they're doing it. I was really quiet on Twitter 2 days ago, and people checked in with me to make sure that I was okay. So actually building those relationships first and finding your tribe, I think, is really important, and the other things come out of that kind of organically, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. So something I'm hearing kind of resonating through. Do you guys all know Stephen Covey? You've all heard of Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah. So, he talks about this emotional bank account, and it's just about personal relationships. But I think it resonates perfectly with social media that firstly, you have to invest in the bank account. You've got to invest in. He talks about an emotional bank account, and it's spot on. And I use it quite a lot. You've got to invest in that before you can withdraw. You can't just turn up and say, give me. That it just doesn't work.
I think it's about authenticity as well. So when I reached out to people and they connected with me, I responded and I engaged. So I wasn't passive. I wasn't just taking. And that in turn, I've offered out that support to other people, and it kind of cascades. And people, I think, now engage with me because they know that the me that I represent on social media is me. It's me as an authentic person. And so I get so much personal value from that. And it kind of just allows things to move.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I remember I remember actually someone asked me, Mark, who manages my account, and I was like, "What? No, nobody's in now near my account."
I've had that. I'm like, this is hilarious. What? What do you mean? No one's this rude. No, it's all me. The abuse is all me. No, it's better. It's all good fun.
But it's funny, isn't it? And I do recommend, I know people do manage accounts, including myself, for companies and stuff, but it is important to keep that personality, whatever personality, but there's nothing better than your real personality. So if you're an idiot offline, you're going to be an idiot online as well.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Totally guilty. No problem. So what about kind of how do you get more comments, and how do you get more likes, and how do you get more shares and more followers? And is that? I mean, I'm always concerned about the how many followers and how many likes, and it's that kind of numbers game, which I'm always kind of, it's a bit of an ego thing. I mean, I get, I've got 40,000 followers or whatever. You're like, great, okay. But how many? And then you question how many are real. I mean, does that come into the community? Is that how you measure it? What do we think about that?
Who do you want to answer that?
Sam, why don't you jump in and we'll...
Okay. Well, with Twitter, I know Instagram is just slightly different, but with Twitter, I measure it by the amount of engagement, I guess. So the amount of people that would actually engage and comment and reply. You can go into your Twitter analytics actually and see where you got the most engagement. By the way, a lot of people don't realize that Twitter analytics are even there.
No, absolutely.
It's a really good way to see, well, hang on, that tweet did really well. I actually did it earlier with a client. We went into her Twitter analytics and I was like, I'm going to prove to you that people want you. They don't necessarily want the business. And every tweet that she did about her that was funny were the most popular rather than the actual businessy ones and the clicks to sale. And then I said to her, well, look at your Google Analytics and see, did traffic still come to your site through that tweet? And it did. So even if someone likes what you're saying, they're going to have a nosy at your site. They will.
Sure.
So it's about, what is it? What value? Think about even look at your Twitter profile. Like, would I follow me? If you could think that way, like, do I look interesting enough for someone to follow me? Or am I going to be just selling to them? Am I going to just be doing negative tweets? Or am I going to give value? Like, people on Twitter want value. They want to be entertained and they want to be inspired as well. And they do. There's a lot of lonely people out there. And especially now with the COVID-19, there's a lot of lonely people out there and they really just want to feel part of something and belong. So, as fluffy as it sounds, it's all about people and about making them feel special, make them feel not ignored and feel part of something. So how I measure success is really how I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of cards. I get presents. I get things sent to me. Actually, this is great. Look, this is a calendar that Sarah sent me of her beautiful photos. She gave it to me, so I mean, these are the things like, and this I put on Twitter when she sent to me. She didn't ask me to do that, but I did it because I thought it was so beautiful. And I even painted one of her photos. So, this is what community is about. It's about not just engaging, but continuing and nurturing that relationship. And that's what it's about. So
yeah, great. And how does that how does that work on Instagram? Similar kind of story?
It's so funny because I think we could talk about any platform and it would be the exact same things. And Sam was saying things then that I was like, word for word, it's the same things I say about Instagram. Looking at your profile, thinking, would I follow this? Looking at a post you're going to make and thinking, is there a way in here? Is there something that someone can connect to? And Instagram is a real place where you'll see a lot of content. People will be intentionally ambiguous. They'll put up a photo of themselves and say like, Tuesday vibes. And it's very hard to start a conversation when someone just says Tuesday vibes to you. But if someone says, my God, like this Tuesday from hell, all of these things went wrong for me. How is your Tuesday happening? Has this happened to you? All of a sudden, there's all this space for community and for conversation and for connection. So yes, the statistics, the numbers can be really useful to monitor. I always encourage people to really think about which ones of those reflect their goals for their social media accounts, because there is no point chasing followers, for example, if what you want is sales. You need to be looking at like click-through. If you want community, then the real ones, not even likes, I would say it's about comments and it's about DMs, because those are the real investments of people's time, people's thoughts, people's energy. And it's very easy to throw up a nice picture and get a ton of likes. It's a lot harder to get people to stop mid-scroll, read something you've written that's more than 2 words, and then write something of their own that's more than 2 words back in return. And that's where the real value and the real connection happens. So
asking questions will be kind of a key tip, I guess, then, rather than just broadcasting.
Yeah, but then you do have to be careful. I don't know if this happens on Twitter, Sam, but certainly on Instagram, people have kind of got wise to that tip and gone, oh, I should ask questions. So they'll say, Tuesday vibes, how's your Tuesday? And it's still not really a conversation. And they never check back in with what people say in response. So it feels very superficial. Whereas someone going like, oh my goodness, does anyone know what to do when you want to throw your toddler out the window because I can't handle this?
Yeah.
That's going to start a conversation because you know that that's coming from a really human place.
Ask Michael Jackson. That's what you do.
Oh.
I actually walked past that hotel. I was in Berlin about 7-8 weeks ago, maybe a bit longer. Yeah.
Please
But
nobody
we
throw their toddlers out of the window. By
no
the way.
don't
Yeah,
no
yeah,
we
yeah.
do not condone toddler throwing. No.
Well,
not
actually,
at all.
someone said in our network, someone said, has anyone else hit a wall this week? And it was just a genuine question, but the comments underneath. And then another lady said, look, I just feel so under so much pressure. She's 7 children, 7. And she was like, I just feel like everyone's doing this and baking cakes and doing this. And I just feel so useless. And we were like, oh my God, no, please, Jen. I mean, you're doing amazing by actually being there at all.
You're still in the house. It's a start.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I guess the other thing I would add here is Sam's comments just reminded me of it. So sometimes people misinterpret this and think, oh, I have to say about things that are hard or things that are awful, or I have to share my private life, which not everybody is comfortable with doing. But there's just as much space for your happy humanness. Yeah. You can come on and say, my God, I've just had the nicest afternoon and this has happened and this has happened. Or you can just be saying wonderful things about somebody else, as long as it's real and authentic and interesting to other humans.
Yeah, awesome.
I think that for me, the minute that I stopped thinking about how many followers I'd got was the point where my social media started working for me. So instead of focusing on the number of people who were signing up to be my friend, in inverted commas, actually thinking about what I was offering and how I was being of service. Intrinsically, I'm somebody who wants to be of service to other people. Otherwise, I would not have been a teacher for 2.5 decades. And getting over that kind of I need the followers, I need the likes, I need the retweets, actually, interestingly, led to the followers and the likes and but in a genuinely engaged way, and it gave me the space to engage back. And I think that's the important bit, because it comes back to relationships again. And the other thing I would say as well is going back to the idea of being of service. So as a photographer initially, and Sam knows this, I was very concerned about my position as a new photographer coming into the market. But actually, I'm not a new photographer. I've been doing photography for 30 years. I've just not done it as my job. And I was very worried about how competitors would see me, and I wanted to keep them at arm's length. But actually, when I opened the door to them, I found another community of very supportive small business people, photographers who've got years of experience, and actually that's opened doors rather than closing my market down. And I was genuinely very fearful of that at first. So I think it's kind of making no assumptions about what people are going to think about you, and just actually going out there, being you, and thinking about what it is that you want to contribute, and the right people will come.
Yeah. No, good tip. Excellent. And this was an interesting one for me. We were just talking before the show, and this question sprung out, and I found this really interesting, actually, which is I'm putting out kind of great content, or I think I am, but I'm not really getting any engagement or response. So is that because my content is crap, or is it because people just aren't seeing it? Is there any way of kind of knowing that? I mean, photography, obviously, I'm assuming you're kind of putting out some pictures and photography that you're doing. I mean, you'd be mad not to, I guess. So how do you have this? Have you had this kind of concern as well?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I put out photographs that I've taken that I think, I'm so proud of them, and they're absolute belters, and I get absolutely no traction at all from them. But then I'll post like I did yesterday, looking in complete state, talking to people whilst I was sat in my garden, and I got absolutely loads of views. And honestly, I was just talking rubbish. It was like I had a rough day the day before. It was my son's 20th birthday. So on Tuesday, I'd had a really bad day because I couldn't be with him, and I'd felt really bad. And that's when people checked in on me. So I did a live, literally, to say, I am so grateful for those of you who checked in on me. That means the world to me. And then I showed them my husband's random painting of our shed. It looks like Balamori in our back garden at the moment.
Same here.
And, but that got so much traction, and I think that comes back to, again, relationships, being genuine, being authentic, and people connecting with people rather than the business. And that for me is the important bit. I want the human connection, and if something comes out of that, great. And if it doesn't, then I'll find something different.
Well, yeah, that's fantastic, actually, what you said there. And I think it's, if it's okay, just to comment on that, I put a tweet up saying he's painting everything, and it got so much traction because everybody's in the same boat. But what we're doing is we're actually helping people identify with what's going on for them is actually normal, the new normal at the moment.
Yeah.
And I remember actually another point to make is bring your customers on a journey. Are you bringing your customer on a journey? Now, I don't mean the sales funnel journey. I mean the journey of, I remember I was going to San Diego to speak at Social Media Marketing World, and I did the journey from the bus to Dublin Airport, to the airport, to the next airport, and I did a check-in each time, and everyone was like following the journey. And I remember, and I did the social media summit, Mark. I mean, I got a puncture on the way home, and a fireman stopped, and he was an off-duty fireman. I love firemen, and I was like all excited. So I told the story. Oh my God, there's a fireman here helping me, and it was just really funny. So it's about getting your personality, that sense of humor, and like Sarah does as well. She sometimes goes take photographs in the fog or at nighttime when it's freezing cold, and I'd be going, oh my God, did she actually go and take the pictures? And I'd check in later to see, did she get there okay? It's just like, I'm just driving like 10 miles or whatever to go and take this pretty picture I want to take, and she'd be in her wellies and her hat, and I just love it, and that's what people want to see. Yeah, take them on a journey.
Good stuff. So, final question, I guess: is there a kind of simple routine that we can follow? Is there a kind of 5-step? I used to have this kind of 5-a-day kind of plan that I used to give people when I was kind of coaching them on Twitter and that kind of stuff. So, Sarah Tasker, why don't we start with you on that one? Is there a 5-step plan? Is there a daily diet?
I recommend to everyone who takes my Instagram classes to try and make themselves a 20-minute daily routine, mainly because I speak to people who are spending like 3 times that easily every day on Instagram unintentionally. Actually, I think just having an intentional rhythm to how you use the app can start to see really great traction. So assuming you're going to post, I would start by posting to your grid on Instagram at the time that most of your people are going to be online. And then I would spend all of the time after that, so probably about 19 minutes, engaging with everybody else, engaging with your community, replying to your comments, checking out what other people are posting right now in real time, commenting on that, replying to your DMs, doing all of that human activity that we can't automate. People try, doesn't work, never looks good. And what's the worst thing you can do really is to just post and run and miss out on that crucial window of connecting, of getting people back to your post, of getting them to realize that you're a real engaging human right there and then. And so that's why I'm not a huge advocate of things like scheduling apps for Instagram, which will just throw up your content on your behalf, because you're missing out on that crucial window. And we know with algorithms, the amount of traction your post gets in those first few minutes is really a metric for how far it will reach on the wider app and how many people will see it.
Okay, so that kind of velocity, I suppose, the initial velocity you're talking about there. So that's part of the algorithm within YouTube as well, in terms of how your video ranks for a result. It's the amount of watch time, but it's that initial velocity as well. When you first release a video, if lots of people start watching it, then it instantly ranks much more quickly, and that gets you more views and more watch time, which then helps it stay ranked. So similar kind of thing. So just quickly as an aside, so with Instagram, you said about kind of going and commenting and engaging on other people's posts, which is fantastic advice. How do you do that? Are you just looking at a hashtag that maybe you just posted, used a hashtag, so you went and see who else is using that hashtag and then commented or liked or whatever?
Yeah, there's loads of ways. That's a really good one. I always recommend, so whenever you visit a hashtag page, you'll first of all be shown the top posts. But if you scroll down a little bit, you'll then be shown a separate grid of recent posts. And those are the ones to go for, because they're people who are more likely to be online right now, and you'll be able to make a direct human connection rather than they might see the comment 12 hours later, they might visit you 12 hours later. So look for the recents. You can do it from hashtags. You can look at who has liked your recent posts and see who's around. You can even go to a competitor or a peer or somebody you admire and look at who's commenting on their posts and then go and check them out. And the thing I always say is make sure it's genuine. We don't want it to be a spam activity. We don't want to be like, quick, go and just leave one-word comments on as many people as possible. Make it about, here's my 20 minutes to connect with the community. Here's my 20 minutes to explore, see what I like fill up my brain with inspiration and with human connection. And then it becomes a really joyful part of your day. And you see all the return gains of reaching out and being an active member of the community.
So who can I contribute to? Who can I help? Who can I applaud? Who can I say well done to?
Yeah,
that's it.
And go and do that. Cool. Awesome. And Sarah Dunwood, is there a routine? Have you built yourself like a daily routine? What's your, or is it just all day, every day? Take photos, post, engage. Take photo, post, engage. Is that your whole life? No dinner. Just.
Well, that's no different than normal. I would say I just got myself into a routine about 4 weeks ago, and now it's gone completely to pot. But I think the important bit is actually is limiting the time, because you can go down a rabbit hole. So completely what Sarah said, actually make it quality time. So I'm a night owl. I tend to be much more productive after I've had my evening meal, and I will come and sit up here and do half an hour on Twitter and follow a chat hour, and then be tinkering around on Instagram at the same time, but in very different ways. Twitter's I handle them both very differently, but there kind of is a routine. But I'm also one of those who loves to go, oh, I've just seen this, take a photo, post it, chat, and then I'll lose 2 hours because I'll get drawn in. But I don't see that as a loss. In reality, it's my husband's loss, but it's not my loss.
Cool, thank you. And Sam, you want to share a routine? Is there a routine that you run?
Yeah, I mean, if I have a client, I recommend 7 tweets a day. So the reason I do that is because, like, I kind of break it down. Like, I kind of have the fluffy tweet, which would be something like inspirational or the sunset or whatever it is that's going to catch people's imagination or make someone feel good. So it's all about how you make people feel. Twitter is, if they feel like they're learning something, if they feel like they're, being thought about, I did a little video there. I was down the beach, and it was of the sea, the waves, because a lot of people are missing the sea, and I live beside the sea, and it went, I think it's 5,000 views on it now, and it's like, what? And all I did, and the amount of comments and people that followed me and said, oh my God, I miss the sea so much, and I'm going to do one later about staying home, because a lot of people are traveling down to where I live because they're trying to get away for the bank holiday weekend, and we're trying to encourage them to stay home. So 7 tweets a day. You'd have the fluffy one, you'd have the call to action one, like the salesy type one, but I don't make it look like a salesy tweet though. It's important to see Twitter, you have to confine it into a certain amount of characters. So it's about getting the message there and not making it look too salesy, but at the same time having them go to your website, like directing them somewhere like to sign up or whatever it is. Blog posts, add value, maybe put out a blog post from yourself or someone else. I have shared Sarah's stuff, I've shared, it's about share. Like, I even retweeted your Twitter list one, Mark, today, so I could say on this that I retweeted it. But no,
that blooming thing, honestly, there's about 100 hours invested in that thing. It just keeps growing. It's
fantastic though, Mark, and I always, over the years I've referred people back to that many times, because I'm too lazy to put that list together.
Just don't. Honestly, if you want a life, just don't start a list of Twitter chats, because it's a never-ending list. People keep creating new ones.
Oh, many, yeah. So I could do something like that.
Is my Twitter chat on your list, Mark?
Oh.
Which one?
The Insta chat. The last Tuesday of every month at 8 p.m.
Rings a bell. Does ring a bell. I will double check it's on there. If it's not, I'll definitely add it. But,
there you go. Yeah. There you go. And the thing is, so that you've got the fluffy tweet, you've got the call to action tweet. I always do 2 helpful tweets in some way, whether that's helping one of my colleagues, one of my connections like yourselves, or whether it's helping some stranger. So it could be someone like a charity or someone that's put up a tweet that I think is really, really good or informative. And then I tag the reporter or the journalist, and then next thing the journalist is adding you to their list or they're following you. So so it's a tactical tweet in a way, I suppose. But I also use Twitter lists a lot, Mark. I just go to notifications, because I could imagine me going down a rabbit hole on my Twitter. Oh my God, I'll never come back out again. So I just go to notifications, see is there anyone I need to engage with, and every business owner should do this. And then just go to my Twitter lists and engage with one person from my Twitter list every day. Yeah.
Okay. Good tip. Good tip. Thank you, ladies. Fascinating chat. Yeah, really appreciate it. If anyone's made it all the way to the end of this video, and not many people do, but if you have and you got questions, then do ask in the comments, and we'll all try and get back to you. And make sure you subscribe for more videos on building communities and social media and Google Ads and SEO, and how to kind of build your business online, which is what we all do, really. And I will put kind of Twitter links in and Instagram things in the description as well, so you can all follow these lovely ladies. But thank you again. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark.